*85# to open an SCD account and apply for Airtel shares.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
A very good evening to you all, and welcome from me, Rukidi Kijjanangoma, to News Tonight here on UBC TV. It is Monday and the date is 18th of September 2023, and we're coming to you live online and on air from Broadcast House here on Nile Avenue. On sign language, it is Elizabeth Nakakuni. Now, police have confirmed the safe return of 13 Ugandans who were abducted by South Sudan forces following the arrest of South Sudan chief in Uganda. The police spokesperson Fred Enanga told the media during a press conference held here in Kampala that there was an exchange of detainees with the South Sudan chief in exchange for the release of the 13 Ugandans.
Uganda's security forces have handed over to Southeast Sudan forces the arrested South Sudan chief who had been apprehended by the UPDF in Uganda. It is alleged that the chief was involved in land grabbing and the illegal sale of land to South Sudan residents. In response to his arrest, South Sudan forces retaliated by the abducting of 13 Ugandans who have also been handed over to the Ugandan forces.
And this one we did in coordination with the commandant of the Bidibidi refugee camp under the office of the Prime Minister, called Nabugere Joel. Of course, they cancelled his refugee status and then handed him over to the South Sudanese authorities.
Police will be conducting comprehensive investigations into the incidents involving private security guards being sedated through the consumption of suspicious food items. Preliminary findings suggest possible conspiracies among private security guards to engage in two criminal activities.
Never accept food and drinks when you're at your duty station. So we think that there could be some bit of conspiracy, whereby they claim that, okay, you'll bring food, give it to me, and when they go unconscious, they fall unconscious and regain consciousness after some time in hospital. The case just goes like that, but when the company is robbed.
Police have received intelligence regarding planned demonstrations by the NUP leadership and potential acts of defiance due to the ongoing suspension of NUP mobilization campaigns.
They have defiantly continued to indicate that they are going to proceed with the second phase. But they must be aware that as the police, we have a duty to police public meetings in a proportionate manner.
In recent developments, at least 4 suspects are currently in custody for their involvement in the illegal interception and theft of goods from vehicles transporting goods along highways.
Arrested 4 suspects who are behind, who intercepted a Fuso lorry, registration number UBN 610P, white in color, that was transporting maize.
Kirhura District's Deputy LC5 chairperson, Atwiri Adson, has been detained on allegations of raping a 20-year-old female student. Abdul Nasir Lowama and Ivan Kahwa for UBC.
Now, of course, it's third term and students have returned to schools for third term, and police have issued advice to schools and parents for the safety of learners during their return to and from school. We have more in this story.
Police have issued an advisory to schools and parents as third-term studies resume nationwide. Schools are urged to review and enhance their emergency security measures, especially in high-priority areas. Examining students' health on return. Schools and parents should proactively examine children for any signs of child abuse and promptly report any concerns to the authorities. Limit the excessive labeling of uniforms and bags, which can potentially expose students to risks by revealing their identities. Keep a vigilant eye on changes in students' behaviors, such as tattoos and nicknames, which might indicate involvement in risky activities. Take immediate action to dislodge any gang groups that may arise due to students' feelings of insecurity, loneliness, or lack of proper identity.
Recommend that as a must, helmets must be given to children, because 80% of all head and brain injuries arise out of failure to use helmets while on motorcycles. Avoiding shortcuts, watching out for stalkers on foot, motorcycles or motor vehicles. We need to teach our children how to be very security conscious and use their instincts, especially when they are being followed.
Certain items are also prohibited within school premises to maintain a safe environment. Strange or unknown foodstuffs suspected to contain narcotic substances. Smartphones, electric gadgets, and large sums of money, glass bottles, and any other potentially dangerous item.
Some of the drug dealers have penetrated some of the schools and used some of the school snacks that children take in form of biscuits. There are people who use sim paste.
Precaution techniques were also shared to educate students on the measures to enhance their safety. Train students to reject offers from strangers, encourage them to run and raise an alarm if they sense danger. Parents should personally drop off their children whenever possible to ensure their safety.
We have parents who have vehicles, and while dropping children to school, a parent stays inside the car and asks the child to run to school. Now, between the drop zone and the entrance to the school gate, anything can happen.
Therefore, it is crucial for schools and parents to ensure the safety and security of students by adhering to guidelines and taking necessary precautions. Ivan Kahwa, Rogers Komagum, UBC News.
Now, schools have opened for third term with a record turn-up of learners. The head teacher of Chitante Hill Secondary School, Elizabeth Onen, told UBC that third term, being the shortest, would require a serious start.
Schools have opened for third term, with pupils and teachers showing an immediate start-off with studies. At Chitante Primary School and UDI's Nursery and Primary School, most classrooms were full, indicating a high turn-up on the first day.
Basically, the turn-up is so good because our board has reported yesterday and today we're receiving the scholars. And I feel it is around 90% of the children are back at school.
We have an enrollment of 3,640 pupils. And the turn-up today has been 2,650.
The head teacher of Chitante Hill, Elizabeth Onen, told UBC that at least 80% of the students have turned up.
I think the turn-up has been good. We have had more than 85% students turn up. Our population is 1,400 and we have a turn-up of about 1,200 students as per this afternoon time management was affected by the heavy rains that you saw in the morning.
Teachers are ready for syllabus completion in this final term of the year.
Actually, for the finalists, I would say for third term it's just a revision term. By the time they did their mocks, the syllabus was already done. So this term, we are just having to engage them in practice to see that they perform well in their end of year examinations, and that is PLE.
Mr. Bato James, a teacher at Chitant Hill, says that the new curriculum gives learners time to study ahead, carry out practical projects on their own, and also eases the interaction between the teacher and student.
For convenience and for them to benefit from others, we encourage that they always move at the same time. They should all be in school at the same time, so that at least you do not have to have situations of having to have backlogs for individual learners who are not around. So parents, you are encouraged, let learners come back to school. The school has got amenities in which you can always discuss any challenges that are there so that we don't have gaps being created.
The head teachers also urged parents to send learners who have not yet reported for school. Marion Awori and Winnie Katwire for UBC.
Now, the Ugandan government has pledged to offer commitment towards building stronger mutual cooperation with the Republic of Rwanda to promote better trade relations between the two countries. The Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Internal Affairs, Major General Joseph Musanyifu, made the revelation at a joint meeting with immigration officials from the Rwandan government held at Las Vegas Hotel in Mbarara City, Western Uganda.
In February 2019, the Rwanda government closed its border with Uganda, halting the movement of its people using road transport to Uganda and the movement of goods and services on allegations that Uganda was aiding and abetting rebel groups that wanted to destabilize Rwanda. Also, Uganda, to the contrary, accused the Rwanda government of spying on it, but in January 2021, Rwanda accepted to reopen its border for the resumption of free movement of goods and services across the Gatuna border and Chanika border. Since then, there has been relative trade between the two countries. However, today, chiefs of immigration from both Uganda and Rwanda held several meetings in Mbarara City in Western Uganda to ease more border crossing of goods and services, despite the interim easy crossing at the moment.
But since then, we have agreed that we must have regular meetings so that we can improve the relationship, first of all, of our people, to allow them to facilitate their movement across our borders.
In a meeting held of immigration officers from both countries, held at Las Vegas Hotel in Mbarara, Lieutenant General Joseph Musanyifu, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Internal Affairs of Uganda, thanked Rwanda for accepting the reopening of Gatuna border.
The responsibility of government to facilitate our people from moving, and our agencies are given the responsibility of ensuring that. And we do that by making it easy for the people to move. So it is being there when they require a service, providing it and ensuring that they move freely.
Major General Apollo Kasita, the Director, Citizenship and Immigration Control in Uganda, said this kind of mutual understanding for both Rwanda and Uganda will facilitate easy crossing of persons for both trade and other personal businesses.
It will help us to, one, remain accountable for our peoples, and that will also help us to facilitate it even better. In terms of road, for instance, when the issue of Kizinga came up, we approached the Minister of Works that the road from Kizinga right up to, Rentobo, it was in a bad state. But government agreed that because now that we have this major crossing point, we can as well work on the other infrastructure.
The Director General of Immigration and Immigration from Rwanda, SCP Linda Nkuranga, noted that a number of movements on both sides have increased and they will continue negotiating to see more cooperation area is registered.
We now even see the growth, the number of movement has increased. You can really see that the crossings is not like what we had previously. So we are here again to discuss again more areas of cooperation, but also to make sure that the resolution that were agreed on during the last JPC, how do we implement some of the decisions.
For UBC, Rebecca Kenyina and Nelson.
Now, a group of legislators has criticized the acts of promoting immorality as practiced by some local artists, basing on the previous musical show, which featured artists including Cinderella Sanyu and Shiba Karungi. The MPs are distressed with the level of nudity. The former Minister for Ethics and Integrity, James Nsaba Buturo, and currently the MP for Bufumbira East constituency, briefed the media.
A musical show, which was dubbed a battle between two local female artists, including Shiba Karungi and Cinderella Sanyu, has since left a section of Ugandans in a serious debate on how the events transpired. Some members of parliament also followed the events closely and criticized the dress code showcased by the performers.
Children are there at home watching them. And tomorrow, children learn by what? By copying. Tomorrow they will also begin behaving like those artists. Is this what our artists want the new generation or generation after them to copy?
That is evidence that, morally speaking, we are as a nation in trouble.
The former Minister for Ethics and Integrity, James Nsaba Buturo, has not stopped monitoring immorality in Uganda. Buturo, also MP for Bufumbira East constituency, has led a group of MPs to criticize what they called nudity exhibited at the musical show.
Tomorrow you'll find it possible somebody just choosing to go naked because it is his or her right on the streets of Kampala. That is the climax of immorality that you can imagine.
But we are saying, as a religious country, God should be number one.
The MPs advise musicians to protect the cultural values of the country and avoid deviating from the trend, since they inspire the young generation.
Ministry of Ethics and Integrity, the two should work together to give guidance to this nation. What we are seeing now, taking pride in nudity, indecency, are things which, if we don't have them controlled, will completely damage this country's interests.
These should be people who are performing for the public. They are public figures, so they should mind the way they present themselves, the way they dress up. They should mind their language. They should mind the way they act when they are on grace, not to be a disgrace. Let them be graceful, but not a disgrace to our society. Because, as I've said, they really contribute something for our development in the country.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gitabinji, UBC News.
Now, Makerere University School of Women and Gender Studies has given scholarships to selected youth in the country from the MK movement to train in computer skills at the ICT Institute. On the admission and introduction of over 20 youth at Makerere Institute of Gender and Women Studies, the coordinator of the MK movement, Balam Barugari, hailed Makerere University for empowering the girl child. He pledged more support to the Gender Institute in the campaign to empower the girl child in ICT. The course is for 1 month.
General Moz, oye! Oye! MK movement, oye! Oye! So we are here to deliver our students to Makerere University Gender Institute.
That this ICT program in the School of Women and Gender Studies was started with the main aim of enabling female access ICT training. But that does not necessarily mean that only female, but also the men are also allowed. But that was the main reason that why ICT. Remember, as a School of Women and Gender Studies, our aim is to try to reach out to the most vulnerable people and try to see that we uplift them in whatever way we can, with ICT being one of them. So I want to thank the MK movement for having donated us funds to buy these computers, selecting participants to be trained, because as Ms. Harriet said, this is a great opportunity for you to have this training, some knowledge, So you have to owe that opportunity to the MK movement.
MK movement, we believe in empowerment, and we believe in skilling, and we believe in equipping. You're not skilled unless when you have an equipment. That is why he contributed those few computers, and looking ahead in future, hopefully you'll consider to contribute more computers if we get more partners to the institute. So thank you very much, the institute. And to you, the students, I want to ask you, don't embarrass us. Don't take cables out of the room. Don't take flash disk from the computer, because many more will come, many more will follow when you are done. So work hard and encourage your friends, those who have some skills and they want to enlighten them with the Makerere touch, that opportunity can fall. We look forward for more opportunities.
Of learning IT, I thank him so much, and I hope all of us here, we are ready to learn and we are going to respect you.
Now, tensions are rising in Kigongi B cell, a central division of Kabale municipality, as over 30 homes stand on the brink of an environmental catastrophe, with residents fearing an imminent landslide disaster. We have more in this story.
With a potential landslide threat looming over Kabale municipality, the most severely likely to be affected is the family of Japheth Basinguzi, a retired tutor whose multi-story house has been gradually sinking due to the unfolding disaster. Basinguzi recounted how this crisis began in July when a crack first appeared on their property.
Because it was a simple crack started just across the whole plot. The plot is long. And we took it as a simple thing. We started buying lorries and lorries of soil, what do they call it, stones, filling the crack, thinking that maybe let us fill it. If it stops, we shall maybe grow some trees along it, and then it may stop. But it's a continuation of the hazard.
The dire situation has forced them to evacuate tenants from the house, which used to generate over shillings 1.5 million in monthly income rent for them.
I am a retired teacher trainer, commonly called a tutor, and my wife was a secondary school teacher. So we are all retired. After retiring, we got our benefits from the government. All the benefits were brought here to make up this house. Plus bank loans, of course, the benefits were not enough, so we had to go to the bank and borrow some money to complete this. And this was actually feeding us properly.
Japheth Basinguzi urgently calls upon the government to assess the impending disaster and provide expert guidance. Amy Twesigam-Kama, the LC1 chairperson for Kagongi B cell, confirmed they have reached out to various officials seeking assistance in understanding the situation. Eva Sasimwe, the environmental officer for Kabale district, disclosed that her office has already inspected the area. She identified the challenge as stemming from the factors within the neighboring wetland and attributed it to the adverse effects of climate change.
There is a wetland in the same area on the lower part of the land, and that wetland is being utilized by the community by use of agricultural activities. So the purpose of the wetland is not encouraged at all because they are utilizing the wetland, and the wetland is supposed to collect all the waters that comes from the hill areas to the lowland. Then now the wetland has been affected by doing agricultural activities. So as forces occur on both the land and the wetland, they pull each other, causing what we call a crack.
With the current state of destruction, residents are living in constant fear that the situation may worsen with the onset of the rainy season. As the situation unfolds, the community remains at edge, hoping for swift intervention before a full-scale disaster strikes.
Hilda Mutonyi with that story there. Now, in less than 2 weeks, a substantive motion seeking to promote and regulate rainwater harvesting in Uganda will be presented to Parliament. Now, the move is aimed at securing abundant water for both domestic consumption and production to counter eventualities of water scarcity. Tororo Municipality Member of Parliament Apollo Fono Yeri is set to move the motion with a vision to make good use of wasted rainwater, including floods.
Whether in human, domestic consumption or production, water remains a unique natural resource with no substitute. This underscores the need to make good use of each drop, including rain and running water. So, the new bill awaits Parliament reception and approval to promote and regulate rainwater harvesting,
so that everybody, especially in urban, when you are putting up a house, when you are putting up a commercial house, when you are putting up any other building, a church and so on, you must provide for where you can harvest water.
This will address food security by harvesting and storing water for irrigation. Apollo Ofono Yeri, the Member of Parliament for Tororo Municipality, is the brain behind the bill.
I've seen the theme of the budget, which is talking about climate smart agriculture. Climate smart agriculture. This is also a core. It can match up with the theme of this budget. Yeah, because when we collect this water, we can really use it for irrigation.
He wants other Ugandans to embrace rainwater harvesting to overcome scarcity in the prevailing circumstances of climate change.
In Uganda, we are like we have 2 seasons, but other countries, our neighboring country like Kenya, it has only 1 season. It is 1 season. So, and other countries like if you go to Egypt, there is no rain completely. If you go to Egypt, there is no rain. They don't receive rainfall from January to January, or from January to December. There is no rain total. So, in Uganda, we are lucky. We are receiving rain in 2 seasons. Why don't we utilize that so that we get enough water, which we can use it for both domestic and production.
Upon resumption, Parliament, which is currently on recess, will see the presentation of the Rainwater Harvesting Bill 2023. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Thanks, Henry, for that story there. Now we'll take a short break and we'll be returning with what's happening in the world of business.
Water, please. Can I pay with Momo? No. Hey, can I pay with Momo?
Here's our merchant code.
Oh, very good.
7 mega?
20. Can I pay with Momo?
Unfortunately, no.
Baby, let's go.
When paying with MTN Momo comes with more benefits for everyone, it just doesn't make sense not to have it.
Hello, I've come for rent.
Can I pay with Momo?
Yes, you can.
Pay or shop with MTN Momo and get cash back every week. It's free of charge. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3#.
In this family, we can't agree on anything. We can't even agree on what to watch.
all the games to play. Ndoza Mulabi, we can't even agree on what to eat. At least the one thing for now we can all agree on is the soap to use. He likes that it's big and lasts long. Anti-economy. I like that it keeps my skin smooth. Ate Alina Echovu. And the children like that. It smells amazing. Everyone is happy. Movit soap comes in 4 fantastic flavors. Movit family soap is truly soap for the whole family.
Movit. All day confidence.
Hello, Mom. How did you sleep? How is Salongo? Oh, Mommy, how is Grandma? And Simba, the dog, yeah, the funny one.
Call Bona on any network in Uganda with Airtel Bona voice bundles. Dial *100*1#. Select Call Bona to choose bundles from as low as 1,000 shillings from daily, weekly, monthly, or bundles that don't expire. Call Bona on any network in Uganda with Airtel. A reason to imagine.
Tata ni Mama Sarah.
Wanji?
We did all we could. Naye we couldn't save her. I'm sorry. You brought her in very late. Malaria destroyed her organs and reduced her blood levels. She was anemic. You know how dangerous malaria is. I am sorry, but malaria has killed your daughter.
Malaria kills more people in Uganda than any other disease. Protect your loved ones from this enemy. Ensure everyone in your family sleeps under a mosquito net every night, whether it's a cold or hot season, to protect them from malaria. In the event that any of your family members shows malaria signs and symptoms, take them to the nearest health center immediately to prevent complications from malaria that could result into death. Together, we can chase malaria out of Uganda. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health with support from Global Fund.
Did you know that you can safely and conveniently make your school fees payments anytime, any school, anywhere using Airtel Money? Oh yes! Simply pick up your phone and dial *185#. Select option 6, school fees. Choose between school pay, peg pay, or shore pay. Enter student number. Enter amount, confirm name and transaction. Enter Airtel Money PIN. A confirmation message will be sent to you upon a successful transaction. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Uganda is a source, transit, and destination for adults and children who are either forced or deceived into forced labor, organ harvest, sacrifice, and commercial exploitation. Trafficking in persons is a serious crime and gross violation of human rights. Report suspects of trafficking in persons to police for investigation and prosecution. Suspects are either close friends or relatives. Victims of trafficking are not criminals and need protection. This message is brought to you by the Coordination Office for Prevention of Trafficking in Persons, Ministry of Internal Affairs.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. Warm welcome to those of you just joining us on sign language. It is Elizabeth Nakakoni and I am Rukidi Kijjanangoma. Now, the chairman of Forum for Democratic Change, Ambassador Waswa Birigwa, has told UBC that preparation for the extraordinary delegates meeting in Busabala is complete. Birigwa said this will also be determined by the court ruling. However, other members of the party from Najena Nkumbi say the objectives of this conference are not clear.
The chairman of the FDC party, Ambassador Waswa Birigwa, has said the extraordinary delegates meeting in Busabala will take place Tuesday. However, the deputy spokesperson of FDC, John Chikonyogo, said Birigwa is contradicting himself on the objectives of the conference. They think it is meant to chase out the party president and the secretary general from the party.
We're already ready. It is a matter of just putting up the tents and the chairs. As I know now, people have already arrived wherever they are supposed to be. People forget that this is, we have members who have been donating and contributing to many, many different activities within the party. Despite the issues of money and all that stuff, we have people who have been contributing, including myself. So I happen to have a place which can easily accommodate as many people as possible. And there is so many people who love their party, who have contributed from water to matoke, others have contributed bulls. So we have all sorts of people who are able to help us to take this forward.
Let them not lie to you. I wish we could put a lie detector on all of them and you ask them that why do you want to put this delegates conference? All of them will find out to show red. Because their aim is simple. They want Amuriat out of the party. They want Nandala out of the party.
Previously, there was a disagreement between members of the FDC party over the way the party was being managed and accusing each other over the alleged dirty money. The party executive failed to agree with the chairman of the party, and this worsened the situation, hence failure to agree on a number of issues, including holding the extraordinary delegates meeting. Even though Birigwa says Amuriat refused to call NEC, the deputy spokesperson FDC John Chikonyogo says this is supposed to be called every after 3 months according to the party constitution.
The reason chairman gave that NEC has not been meeting, he wants to take an Amuriat to delegates conference. I brought him because NEC was not sitting. But if he checked our constitution, it's very clear. The mandatory NEC has to be there every 3 months to receive quarterly reports.
Power starts and ends. The founders of the party found it fundamentally necessary to separate the executive, okay, from what I would call the owners or the board of directors. My responsibility is to take care of the party on behalf of the delegate conference. And there it's clearly stated who has got the right to do so. The powers to call a delegate conference, to call extraordinary conference, to call a special conference lies with the chairperson.
Birigwa insisted on organizing the extraordinary delegates conference, to which powers he is given from the party constitution.
An extraordinary meeting shall be convened by the chairperson in any of the following circumstances. A, when the chairperson so decides. That's number one, and that's the one I'm utilizing.
One of the disagreements on who has certain powers in the constitution between the Secretary General and the Chairman, Birigwa has explained the powers he has.
The National Executive Committee requests. The National Executive Committee did not request. Part of it is the problem why we're having a problem, the problems we're facing now, because for some reason, the executive, headed by none other than the president of the party, by the name of Mr. Amuriat, Honorable Amuriat, refused for the last 4 months to hold the National Executive Committee. Your answer is there by saying that when the chairperson decides, it does not state the chairperson has to consult.
However, some party members say Birigwa during the 28th July National Council signed on a resolution accepting to continue with the elections.
The chairman of Macharo tugambye nti alina abantu bamuleetera petition. Ate nga chairman y'omu, kuba mwami Birigwa musaasira musajja wattu. Chairman y'omu yatuuza olukiiko wano n'ayisa resolution zengenda okubaamu mwenna olwaleero n'agamba nti okulonda kwonna kutambudde bulungi.
Police also released a statement that indicated that it will not give protection to this conference, and to Birigwa, police has never given the party protection.
Things are done also haphazardly. The chairman himself went to the police. So some of you have been trying to twist it as if it is FDC trying to stop this delegates conference here.
Let me ask you, permission was not granted to hold or not to hold. Okay? The letter states, we will not provide you with protection. DC members have been beaten, have been jailed, some been killed. Is that what you call protection? We are protected by God. Others follow.
He also clarified that the Constitution allows him to call a delegates conference in case he receives petitions from members.
1/2 of the district executive committees, we have already received that and more than what's necessary. Or C, on receipt of a petition from 30% of the delegates from at least 50% of all districts in the country, we have.
On the issue of some members who filed a suit in High Court about the Extraordinary Delegates Conference, Birigwa said he will have to wait for the ruling to comment.
Just waiting to hear what's coming out of court today. As you know, it's sitting, and we're waiting to hear from them, and that will determine what the next step is.
Ivan Juko, Nafka Farida for UBC.
Meanwhile, the High Court has extended the injunction halting the FDC Extraordinary Delegates Conference that had been organized by the party national chairperson, Ambassador Waswa Birigwa. Justice Esther Nambayo, in extending the order, followed all parties' appearance in court for hearing of the main application and court directing them on how to proceed in filing of submissions.
Application before Judge Esther Nambayo of High Court Civil Division in Kampala was filed by the party delegates Intare Arafat Mwanje, Wante Jamal, and Malik Saz. The case was filed against the Party Forum for Democratic Change FDC, the party President Patrick Oboy Amuriat, and the party Secretary General Nandara Mafari. The hearing took place in the Justice's chambers. The three applicants are questioning the manner in which the Extraordinary National Delegates Conference is being organized, alleging that it contravenes the party constitution and the 1995 constitution. In court, Justice Esther Nambayo directed parties to file written submissions starting from 22nd September 2023 for the applicants, 29th September and 2nd October 2023 for the respondents to make their rejoinder. Court will resume on 4th October 2023. Formation of the case before the scheduling, lawyers led by Deputy Party President for Uganda Region, Elias Lukwago, sneaked in, alleging to represent the party, and the party chairperson, Ambassador Waswa Birigwa. But lawyer Lukwago failed to convince court to stay during the proceedings, since the alleged party chairperson was not party to the application, and that the party had instructed lawyer Julius Galinsonga to represent it. Court closed lawyer Elias Lukwago and other lawyers outside the proceedings.
It's only the national chairman who is mandated to convene a delegates conference. And look at the provisions of Article 23 of the party constitution. The de facto chairman of the electoral commission, Honorable Totalebuka Bamwinda, I have the constitution here, has no power whatsoever to call that delegates conference. So these are matters which were supposed to be presented before the judge. Unfortunately, they said the person who colluded, actually who directed Totalebuka Bamwinda to call that illegal delegates conference of 6th should be the one now to represent the party.
Lawyer Lukwago later addressed the media.
Nothing that stops members from discussing matters affecting the party, regardless of whether there is a court order or not. The order they have secured stops Nandala from going ahead with his meeting. It stops Power from going ahead with their meeting. It does not stop the chairman from proceeding with the meeting he called. So let them go, and they are free not to attend. Nandala and Power are free not to attend.
The party chief whip Ibrahim Semujunganda also attended court.
I am going to write to the principal judge to complain against this particular judge, because the judge is aware that the FDC delegates conference is being called by Ambassador Waswa Birigwa, the party chairman, and you don't allow him to come and don't allow him to be represented. You don't even allow him to say something, and then you issue an order. So really, this is fraud at the highest order.
The applicants at the party headquarters at Najana Nkumbi had this to say.
Kati basajja bakulu bano babanga bali serious ddala baagaliza ekibiina nga tebali mu kwokya myaka gyaffe ffe abayingidde politics batuule bateese.
Kye bakoze kwe kuleeta ne balooya abalala abatali instructed, omukuli Lukwago, Tugume n'abalala. Kati abamu kubazze okuleeta obuvuyo ate neewunyiza okubanga omwogezi wa party Ibrahim Semujunganda ne Nyanjula Dorini bonna nga bali eyo.
The Extraordinary National Delegates Conference for Forum for Democratic Change was scheduled for tomorrow, 19th September 2023. Trouble in FDC started when the party chairperson Waswabiri Gwa sided with Dr. Kizza Besigye to accuse the FDC Secretary General Nandala Mafabi and the party president Patrick Aboya Muriat of receiving what they described as that estate money. Deborah Namamonde, Susan Nabugude, UBC News.
It's coming to 8:45 in the studios of UBC TV. We'll now take a short break and return with much more.
Uncle, you should see London. Oh, my boy. This has been 5 years. You should see Uganda. Yes. Uncle Marcus, huh? This is my former school.
You see? Soon there will be more than 1 million children learning like this for free.
This is impressive. Do you even have connection out here?
Oh, we have 100% 4G countrywide.
Okay.
We even have 5G too.
That's approximately 700 billion Uganda shillings in tax, making Airtel one of the largest corporate income taxpayers over the last 5 years, helping build a better Uganda.
Today your son saw our new Uganda.
Thank you, Uganda, for imagining it with us and making us the fastest growing telecom in the country over the past 5 years.
The doctor says you are getting better. I have a list of suspects in my file here, but I need you to help me identify the thief who attacked you.
This cat thief again.
Malaria is a thief. Don't let it rob you and your loved ones. Prevent it by sleeping under a mosquito net. Clear bushes and all stagnant water around you. If you notice any symptoms, go to a health center near you to test and treat, and ensure to complete your full dose to avoid severe malaria, which could lead to death.
Welcome back from that break. Now let's look at what's happening in the world of business. Uganda Cooperative Alliance is lobbying and pressuring government to revive the Cooperative Bank that went under in 1999. According to Ivan Asimwe, the General Secretary, Uganda Cooperative Alliance, cooperators are suffering from the bureaucratic systems and overpriced interest rates charged on loans by commercial banks. Dennis Goa reports.
The cooperative societies have played and continue playing a critical role in the development of economies globally. In Uganda, cooperatives date back to the early 20th century, says Ivan Asimwe, the General Secretary, Uganda Cooperative Alliance.
In 1913, 4 farmers here in Mubende, because of the unfavorable trade barriers, the conditionalities that were there by then, especially regarding the farmers, the 4 farmers said enough is enough. You people, we need to come together, form a cooperative, work together so that we stop this nonsense of exploitation.
The 1960s and 70s was the rosy times of cooperatives in Uganda. The success of cooperative societies led to the formation of the now defunct Cooperative Bank of Uganda that was closed down by the central bank in 1999.
You can imagine by 1965, only cooperatives that were in agriculture, coffee, cotton, they were controlling 325 million, 311 million, 500 Uganda shillings. By then, that was a lot of money. Because for people who were there by then, the listeners, they will tell you, someone would work for like 1 shilling or 2 shillings. But these ones were millions. They had 100% monopoly to gin cotton. They had 14 ginneries and 7 coffee churning works. By then, they were controlling 90% and 60% of Arabic and Robusta coffee. So in other words, the economy was in the hands of Ugandans in the cooperatives.
According to the Uganda Cooperative Alliance, the collapse of the Cooperative Bank was unfortunate and recommends a speedy revival in order for it to address the plight of the more than 40,000 registered cooperatives in the country with an estimated 15 million members.
Because we have been with these commercial banks for a long time, but the cry is the same. The same, we have not really changed on our disappointments and crying, the way of crying. So can we learn from the past mistakes and have a cooperative bank up and running?
Although the country is aggressively courting investors from across the globe in a quest to boost the foreign direct investments, the Cooperative Alliance is of the view that the cooperative model guarantees sustainable and long-term development.
So once you have an economy that is in the hands and in the control of the investors who are not nationals, then that economy is not sustainable. So for us to build a very strong and sustainable economy, we need to bring all Ugandans in the equation. And the only model that will bring them in the equation is the cooperative model.
Dennis Igoa for UBC News.
Stanbic Bank Uganda has pledged to continue extending its financial backing to all Ugandans as a deliberate effort to support the country's growth. Now, this was revealed by the head of personal banking at Stanbic Uganda, Mr. Arinetwe Israel, at the opening of the bank's 82nd branch in Kasangati Town Council, Wakiso District. The Mayor, Kasangati Town, Tom Muwonge, welcomed the bank and said it was timely considering the area's growth.
Stanbic Bank branch, Kasangati.
Stanbic Bank Uganda has opened 2 branches in the outskirts of Kampala as part of its mission of driving Uganda's growth through community financial empowerment.
You need to prove that we drive the country's growth. Simultaneously, we are opening another branch. We're opening 2 branches at the same time. We're opening another branch right now in Nansana. Ekitegeeza that we are driving Uganda's growth intentionally.
With a population of over 300,000 people, Kasangati Town Council has been the recipient of the new Stanbic Bank branch and the other one being in Nansana Town Council. While officiating the opening of the 82nd branch, the Mayor Kasangati Town Council, Muwonge Tom, appealed to Stanbic Bank Uganda to help sensitize the population about the importance of banking and saving.
So I thank Stanbic for bringing the services very close to our people, and we pledge as leaders to work together with our Stanbic Bank management in sensitizing and letting our people know the importance and why they should always save. They have to penetrate deep in the villages. First of all, sensitizing is key. Then, after people knowing the reasons to why they should work and why they should save.
The head of personal banking at Stanbic Bank Uganda, Israel Arinetwe, said they are reaching out to all Ugandans with banking services as a fulfillment of the bank's slogan that says, Uganda is our home and we shall drive its growth.
So we had to heed our customers' call. We had to respond to the client's requests to bring services closer to them, that people can do their business, do bank, open accounts, save, take loans within a 10-minute radius in terms of time they take to get to the bank.
He also announced that Stanbic Bank had waived school fees transfer banking charges and on loans so that learners and borrowers enjoy services provided by the bank, especially as schools and institutions begin a new term.
We want to be a bank that receives and processes your school fees as you pay school fees for your children. We have removed arrangement fees to support you to take your children back to school. You can take a loan quickly in the Stanbic Bank within 2 minutes.
Kasangati Stanbic Bank new branch opening attracted area leaders and security personnel, entrepreneurs, and the bank staff. Mtonyi Hilda and Deo Habimana, UBC.
Now, in the forex market, the US dollar started with a buying rate of shillings 3,724.71 and a selling rate of shillings 3,734.72. 0.71, but by midday it had strengthened with a buying rate of shillings 3,743 and a selling rate of shillings 3,753. By the close of the market, the US dollar had slightly weakened with a buying rate of 3,742 shillings and a selling rate of 3,752. Take a watch. Let's take yet another short break and return with the latest in sport.
Sasura obagula ne MTN Momo olwo tukuddize ssente oleweki
eyuge ku MTN Momo pe ogenda kubanga okikwasaganya bulungi nnyo.
Olwaleero tugabye piki zaffe ebbiri ezisoose nga tuziwadde ba merchants babiri, mukyala Hadija ku petrol station ya Moka, mwami Charles naye tuva kumuwa piki ye.
Kituufu mpangudde ne documents zino nzifunye.
I was so surprised when to the petrol station nesangawo nga already MTN yatuuse. MTN bateba kulimba tebalimba. Kumbe bino ebintu byo bituufu.
Era kye tubuulira abantu baffe naddala omuntu yenna alina business nti ssaawa zino tugenda tuva mu mbeera eyo ey'okukwata ssente ez'omumpeke nti buli omu yenna afune kye tuyita merchant code. Tugenze tusomesa abantu ku mugaso gw'obutakwata ssente ez'obuliwo naye nga bazifunire ku ssimu yaabwe. Beera steady tugaba pin code yo yo weka.
Kozesa Momo app owanyika star *5 star *3#.
Welcome back. Let's have a look now at the world of sport, and we begin with rugby, where the Uganda Rugby Sevens defeated Zimbabwe in the bronze match of the 2023 Rugby Africa Men's Sevens to finish third in the tournament. The Uganda Sevens came from behind in the first half to beat the hosts 24-12 and finish in third place. Aaron Ofoiruoth, Isaac Masanga-Zida and Philip Wokorach scored the tries. Captain Ian Munyani converted Wokorach's try in the last play as Uganda embarked on emphatic celebrations. Uganda will now join African champions Kenya in the Sevens Challenger Series that will be played in 2024. Similarly, Uganda will also join South Africa in the Olympic Games repechage next year. Uganda played 6 matches, won 4 and lost 2 during the 2-day tournament in Harare, Zimbabwe. Uganda's scores were as follows: Uganda 45, Algeria 7, Uganda 36, Burkina Faso 19, Zimbabwe 35, Uganda 5, Uganda 29, Zambia 15, South Africa 26, Uganda 14, and Uganda 24, Zimbabwe 12. Football now, and KCCA-FC started their journey to the 2023-2024 CAF Confederation Cup with a 3-1 defeat to Libya's Abu Salem. In the first leg game played on Sunday evening in Tunisia, the Lugogo-based side was 2-0 down at halftime, and at the start of the second half conceded a third goal. The team struggled when they lost defender Mustafa Mujuzi to a red card, but got lucky when striker Abakar Mayanja pulled one back in the dying minutes of the game, but it was too late to save the game. With the defeat, KCCA will have to raid on their away goal and complete the job when the two sides meet for the return leg that will be played at St. Mary's Stadium, Chitende, on the 23rd of September 2023. And lastly, the Under-13 Warrior Stars and Under-17 Pine Club emerged winners at a Rotary football tournament organized by Rotary and Rotaract clubs of Chitante. The event was held at Kamocha Mulimira Zone and brought together young people, and the main aim was to educate them about responsible citizenship.
Don't let him play!
Youth in Kamocha, a Kampala city suburb, turned up in large numbers to participate in the Rotary football tournament for the under-13s and under-17s. The tournament, held at Kamocha Mulimira Zone, aimed at bringing young people together where they were educated about how to grow as responsible citizens. Kampala International Medical Center took part in creating awareness about the dangers of drug abuse.
We are trying to sensitize the people of this place about the drugs because it's a very big problem today. Many people are struggling with drug issues, especially the young generation. The variance, the statistics are showing a very, very high statistics of people using, especially in slum areas, just like Kamocha. They're using drugs that are so heavy to their bodies, and they are very dangerous. Drugs including marijuana, heroin, cocaine, and even others are just using alcohol, which is affecting their mental health and basically their social life.
The Rotary Club of Chitante and Kampala Rotaract Club of Chitante, in collaboration with other clubs and partners, are trying to bring up the boy child on board under the Boy Child Uplifting Program.
But they focus on the boy child. This Rotary year we have a signature project of the district called the Boy Child Uplifting Program. Why Boy Child Uplifting Program? Over the years, a lot of support has been given to the girl child, and right now the girl child has been so much empowered at the expense of the boy child.
The Under-13 Warrior Stars and Under-17 Pine Club emerged winners at the tournament, and they were all awarded with goats.
And that brings us to this first edition of News Tonight here on UBC TV this Monday, the 18th day of September 2023. Thank you so much for having kept us company on sign language. It has been Elizabeth Nakakoni, and I am Rukidi Kijjanangoma, wishing you a blessed night. But I'll leave you with